Hello and welcome to another Joe Nakamoto interview. This conversation formed part of my research into the documentary I made called How to Spot Crypto Scams. Please check out that video on my other channel and feel free to share it with a friend who is new to crypto. Enjoy the interview.
So I'm with Andreas of Sequentia. What is Sequentia? What problem is it solving?
So Sequentia is a Bitcoin sidechain, the first sidechain that's optimized for cross-chain swaps between assets of the sidechain and Bitcoin on the main chain without any need to peg or bridge Bitcoin to the sidechain. It's also generally the first blockchain ever not to have a native coin for transaction fees. It will let users propose transaction fees with any token issued on the sidechain. So for example, if you're using USDT and you want to swap USDT for Bitcoin, you'd probably want to pay the sidechain transaction fee with USDT itself rather than something else. Every block on the sidechain is anchored to a Bitcoin block, which means that every block has a reference to a header of a Bitcoin block, which means that both chains reorganize together, which creates consistency for cross-chain atomic swaps and means that you can do real-time swaps without any intermediary between both chains.
Okay, super. And so you don't have a token, right? There's no token to this.
At least when we launch the chain, there won't be any token of our own. We're building this as a fork of Elements, the same code base as the Blockstream Liquid network. So we're also going to keep their block signing consensus strong federation at the beginning. There's going to be members of this federation that we choose that create blocks and collect transaction fees on our behalf. But that's semi-centralized, so in the long run, we'd like to replace that with a proof-of-stake consensus mechanism that will introduce a token, but that token will never be needed by end users to pay for transaction fees. And also, that's not going to be right at the start. It will be later on as a consensus upgrade in the future.
So how are you making money if there's no token and they have to define their own transaction fees?
Well, at the moment, we're raising funds through equity. Our promise to investors is that we will distribute the transaction fees that we collect to our shareholders. And in the future, when we do introduce a token, that will be distributed partly to our shareholders and partly through public sales.
Okay, so there will eventually be a pre-sale, pre-mine, token distribution, tokenomics, that kind of stuff?
Right, but not anytime soon.
Okay, yeah. I'm just because half the projects I speak to here, they scream crypto, pre-mine, all this kind of stuff. And your project seems to be relatively like straight, solid, and decent, no? Is that
sure. Well, the token is just because proof of stake is the best thing we've figured so far to decentralize the consensus mechanism. It's not our priority because, I think that our biggest value proposition is everything else I've just described, and the strong federation is good enough to begin with. But if we figured out something else, like blind merge mining without having to compromise on block frequency, for example, then we might go for that. Our white paper currently describes a proof-of-stake mechanism just because that's the best thing we've found so far.
Okay. Wow, impressive. Okay, well, thanks, Andreas. Where is it going to be in 5 years' time? Will the token be there by then?
Yes, maybe it will probably be there next year. We're thinking of launching the mainnet by the end of this year, and do the consensus upgrade sometime in 2025.
Okay.
But let's see. I think the lowest hanging fruit for us in terms of use cases is probably going to be stablecoins.
Yeah.
In the bigger picture, I'm more excited about real world assets, tokenized securities. I think the Liquid network has probably the most mature ecosystem for tokenized securities, and we'd like to bring a lot of that ecosystem to the
nice
thing.
Is it kind of similar to SideShift?
SideShift is a DEX that uses Liquid, which we would like to see migrate to Sequentia as well later on.
Oh, right.
And yeah, so perhaps SideShift and SideSwap as well will be able to enable swaps between assets on Sequentia and Bitcoin on the main chain or on the Lightning Network.
Okay, cool, man. Okay, well, thank you so much for your time, mate. And yeah, good to meet you. You wanted to meet me, but I just did an interview with you. Was there anything you wanted to actually say to me before I shoved a microphone in your face?
I actually just wanted to tell you about Sequentia. And,
oh, okay. Well, then.
So this worked out perfectly.
Great. Well, isn't that fun? Okay, cool. Not a scam. Mate, I've been talking to all these scams today, being like, this is obviously a scam. And I'm like...
Voice to signal ratio is insane right now.
Yeah. It's, and I was listening to your project, I was like, oh shit, wait, there's not... Like, it's doing something useful, because people in the Bitcoin space do need stable coins, and they often have to swap in and out of them. I mean, yeah, when you get to the crypto, when you get to the token bit, yeah, we can talk about scams then. But, you know, until that point.
Yes, I mean, I really like what Aqua is doing specifically on Liquid.
Yeah.
I think they have a lot of users in Argentina that need access to dollars, to USDT, but want to save in Bitcoin. And so, no, that's exactly the first kind of users we want to go after and serve just with actual real Bitcoin instead of tech Bitcoin.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. I mean, I use Aqua, or someone who isn't me uses Aqua quite religiously. And yeah, it's a useful product. And where are you from?
All over. I'm a citizen of France, Spain, Germany, and the US. I grew up in the UK, and now I live in El Salvador.
Wow, okay, so you're a bit of a maxi then.
Yeah, I would say so.
So this is why you're not scamming.
Maybe.
Thanks, Andreas.
Likewise.
You're a breath of fresh air
Thank you.
in a sea of shit. Cool.
Thanks for talking with Joe.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. We can start rolling now. That was,
Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to Bitcoin education website Plan B Network and to the British Bitcoin exchange Coin Corner. Subscribe now for more interviews and more behind the scenes content.